Number 10. Will Smith and Margot Robbie. In 2013, Star magazine published a bombshell allegation that Will Smith was caught cheating with his co-star Margot Robbie when they worked together on the movie Focus. The report actually claimed that in photo booth pictures that they found and published on their cover, Will appeared to be shirtless and Margot lifted up her own shirt to reveal her lingerie. The magazine also claimed that after they pulled the curtain back to take the pictures, they were getting very touchy-feely with each other in the dark. The scandal was massive at the time because Will is married to Jada Pinkett Smith, and back then they had yet to admit to having an open relationship. But the rumors soon died down as E! News revealed that the pictures were commissioned by a production and that the entire cast and crew saw them being taken. It also came out that Will and Margot are absolutely just friends and there was nothing else going on between them. Even Margot was quick to deny everything on Twitter. Quote, "There's absolutely no truth to the ridiculous rumor. It's disappointing that goofing around on set could be taken so out of context." Well, people do tend to jump to conclusions. Number 9. Dominic West and Lily James. The actors were at the height of scandal when they were photographed getting cozy in Rome, all while filming their new series The Pursuit of Love in 2020. The pictures show the stars kissing, sitting at a cafe, standing on the Spanish Steps, and riding tandem on a scooter, looking very much to be on a date. Although Lily was single at the time, Dominic has been married to Catherine Fitzgerald for 10 years, and they have 4 children together. A source told The Sun that when Catherine saw the pictures, she was devastated and tried to get a hold of her husband, but he wasn't answering his phone. She was reportedly shocked by the whole thing because she didn't realize anything was going on. But only a few days later, there was a photo taken out the front of the couple's home with a note saying, "Our marriage is strong and we're very much still together. Thank you." Since the incident, James has kept quiet and cancelled various interviews to promote her latest film Rebecca, which is probably a good decision considering the fact that both parties have not yet publicly talked about their affair since it occurred.
Number 8. Brad Pitt. Brangelina took Hollywood by storm, and when they began their relationship in the late 2000s. What many may not know is that this iconic couple were bred from a disastrous breakup between himself and Jennifer Aniston. Jennifer, best known by me for her role in the 1993 comedy classic Leprechaun alongside Warwick Davis, was actually married to Brad in 2000 after already being together for 2 years. They spent $1 million on their wedding ceremony, which took place in Malibu, and everything seemed to be going well until around 2005 when the couple announced to People magazine that they were going to be getting a divorce. Around the same time, Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie were working on the film Mr. and Mrs. Smith together. Rumors began to fly, and Brangelina was born. The couple officially announced their relationship a few months following the divorce from Aniston. They were married in 2014, but unfortunately Brangelina also filed for a divorce 2 years later. The relationship was a flop, but they adopted a bunch of kids and now they have a decent life, so I guess that's something.
Number 7. Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. Jen and Brad got married in 2000 in a lavish Malibu wedding, and things were perfect for the Hollywood it couple until they suddenly announced their divorce in 2005. What happened exactly? Well, long story short is Brad met Angelina for the first time on the set of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and the rest is history. Apparently the movie was filled with so much romantic tension, it was impossible for the two stars not to fall for each other. I mean, Mr. and Mrs. Smith is probably the sexiest spy movie to ever exist, so it's easy to see how everything went down. But the problem was that Brad was still married to Jen. But he didn't let that stop him, and they allegedly still got together despite his marriage. To add insult to injury, he said about his marriage to Jen, quote, "I was trying to pretend the marriage was something that it wasn't. I'm satisfied with making true choices and finding the woman I love, Angie, and building a family that I love so much." That sounds pretty harsh, but it turned out that Brad and Angelina's relationship wasn't just a fling, and they actually went on to date for many years and had a large family before finally getting married in 2014. The love triangle was one of the biggest celebrity scandals of the early 2000s, and it still dominates the tabloids to this day. Number 6. Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher. The actress and writer Carrie Fisher was never one to hold back when she had something to say, and in 2016 she shared a fascinating piece of history in her own memoir called The Princess Diarist. According to Carrie, she had a brief but very intense affair with her Star Wars co-star Harrison Ford while they were filming the movie in 1976. But what's really quite troubling is that People magazine reported that she was just 19 years old when the 3-month affair took place, while Harrison was 36 years old and married to his wife of 15 years, Mary Marquardt. To make matters worse, the couple also shared 2 kids together. In terms of sneaking around, Carrie actually said, quote, "It was Han and Leia Miranda during the week and Carrie and Harrison during the weekend. She also explained to The Guardian that the affair between them had eventually come down to unreciprocated love. She said that she'll always feel something for him. The Star Wars actress was so young at the time that they got together, and although she must have known it was wrong, it's hard to say that the blame rests completely on her. What's even sadder is that after Carrie died in 2016, Harrison never fully confessed to the affair, probably more out of shame for cheating on his wife. Number 5. Ewan McGregor and Mary Elizabeth Winstead. The co-stars brought their on-screen romance into the real world after working together on the FX series Fargo. The pair appeared on season 3 of the anthology crime drama, which debuted in April of 2017. Only a month later, the actress announced on social media that she had split from her husband of 7 years, Riley Stearns. Following her separation, Winstead was spotted on a date, hooking up with McGregor in London, and cheating rumors were flying because although she was single, he was very much not. The Trainspotting actor was still married to Eve Mavrakis at the time, with whom he shares 4 children. After the Emmy winner was spotted getting cozy with Winstead, fans began to wonder about the status of his marriage, but it wasn't until January of 2018 that his now ex-wife filed for divorce. But while the two managed to keep their romance relatively private, their relationship raised eyebrows even among their family members. In fact, in August of 2018, McGregor's daughter Clara had some strong feelings on the new relationship at the time. She took to Instagram to comment on a Mary Elizabeth Winstead fan page, quote, "Most beautiful and talented woman on earth? Oh man, y'all are delusional. This girl is a piece of trash." Wow. Number 4. Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman. Although it's been over for decades, Nicole Kidman's marriage to Tom Cruise is still one of Hollywood's most talked about relationships. Cruise met Nicole Kidman on the set of the movie Days of Thunder, and the pair were instantly smitten with one another, and they soon started engaging in a torrid love affair. But at the time of meeting, you guessed it, the Top Gun actor was still married to Mimi Rogers, whom he wed in 1987. As it became clear that the affair was more than just a simple fling, Tom divorced his first wife in February of 1990, and less than 1 year later, he exchanged vows with Nicole in December of 1990. They even adopted 2 children, Isabella Jane and Connor Anthony, and eventually went on to make 2 more movies together as a couple. But as we all know, their marriage was far from perfect, and they ended up splitting a decade later in 2001. Looking back on the divorce, Nicole said, quote, "It took me a very long time to heal. It was a shock to my system. We were in a bubble, just the 2 of us. We became very dependent on one another." Number 3. Billy Crudup and Claire Danes. The massive scandal started in late 2003. Billy and his girlfriend of 8 years, Mary Louise Parker, who at the time was about 7 months pregnant with his son, broke up. The New York Post reported that the actor had moved on with his stage beauty co-star Claire Danes, who was only 24 at the time. In the summer of that year, the former co-stars had been spotted getting cozy all over New York City, and even had a very cute looking courtside date filled with PDA. But Billy wasn't the only cheater in that situation, as Claire also ended up breaking the heart of her longtime boyfriend Ben Lee to be with the actor. Their love affair didn't last long, however, and it's clear that all the heartbreak wasn't even worth it, because they ended up splitting up just 3 years later. Naturally, the ultra-private couple didn't discuss the reason behind their breakup, but the tabloids were happy to do so for them. Several magazines even claimed that Danes had left Billy for Hugh Dancy, but we'll never really know what happened. Years later, Claire said, quote, "I was just in love with him and needed to explore that. I was 24, I didn't quite know what those consequences would be."
Number 2. Meg Ryan. Meg Ryan was the rom-com queen of the 90s. She starred in Hollywood hits like When Harry Met Sally alongside Billy Crystal, You've Got Mail with Tom Hanks, and Sleepless in Seattle, again with Tom Hanks. You may be thinking, is Tom the man that she cheated with? Well, no, it was actually Russell Crowe. Russell and Megan were in Ecuador shooting their film Proof of Life when tabloids discovered that Ryan was cheating on her then husband of 9 years, Dennis Quaid, with Crowe. The news of the affair broke and spread around the world. Dennis quickly filed for divorce. Meg fought back hard against the allegations that the divorce was entirely her fault, as she claims that Dennis was unfaithful to her multiple times during their relationship. While Meg and Crowe ended up calling it quits not long after they got together, the film that brought them closer in the first place bombed hard at the box office, proving that bad press isn't always good press.
Number 1. John Malkovich and Michelle Pfeiffer. The legendary actor John Malkovich caused intense scandal both on and off the screen when it came to filming 1998's Dangerous Liaisons with his co-star Michelle Pfeiffer. At the time, the actor had been married to actress Glenn Headley for 6 years, but that completely fell apart in the midst of his affair with Michelle. Interestingly enough, even the film's director, Stephen Frears, said, quote, "Dangerous Liaisons is about betrayal and lies and relationships unraveling. It was one of those times where reality and art intersect. It was overwhelming to John. Even for a man who delights in bad behavior, that was a difficult time. Not to mention the fact that John's older brother, Danny, told Entertainment Weekly in 1993 that when the actor came home with Michelle, that was the happiest that he had ever seen him. But even though John and his ex-wife got divorced in 1988, the affair didn't last long either, and they reportedly broke up not long after. But apparently Malkovich took the breakup very hard and reportedly cried for a whole year. The two of them must have really had something special, because he told The Guardian in 2008, quote, "It's hard to believe Michelle Pfeiffer ever said hello to me. I mean, if you can forget about the fact that he cheated on his wife, it's still romantic the way he talks about Michelle." Number 10. Justin Timberlake and Elisha Wainwright. Justin Timberlake and Elisha Wainwright made headlines when they were spotted holding hands during a night out in New Orleans. The two actors were shooting the movie Palmer, which is a drama about an ex-college football star who returns home after being in prison. The co-stars were photographed together getting cozy at a bar in Louisiana, sitting at a table holding hands and talking to one another. The photos showed Justin, who didn't appear to be wearing his wedding ring, holding hands with the actress under a table and drinking together. At one point, Elisha could be seen resting her hand on the singer's knee, and while he was standing up, putting his arm around her waist. The photos caused a huge scandal because he's been married to Jessica Biel since 2012. Their relationship was really being tested, and Justin had to make a public statement the following month, apologizing for his strong lapse in judgment, and claimed that despite the photos, nothing happened between him and his co-star. Number 9. LeAnn Rimes and Eddie Cibrian. This affair was not exactly unique. In fact, it's a story so common in Hollywood that it borders on cliche. The actors were co-stars who met on the set of a Lifetime movie called Northern Lights. They immediately hit it off and the flirting began. But the kicker was that they were both already married at the time to other people. But hey, in classic Hollywood fashion, they didn't let that stop them, and not long after meeting, they were photographed having dinner together, and the rumor mill did the rest. After extreme press coverage of the affair, both LeAnn and Eddie decided to make it official and separated from their respective spouses to be with each other. They eventually ended up tying the knot in 2011, but the story doesn't entirely end there. A few years later, Eddie was caught cheating on LeAnn at Wendy Williams' 50th birthday party, but she claims she's unfazed by the whole thing and doesn't seem to mind if he flirts with other women. You know what they say, sometimes how you get them is how you lose them too. Number 8. Chad Michael Murray and Paris Hilton. In 2003, Chad Michael Murray and Sophia Bush fell in love while filming the TV series One Tree Hill. 2 years later, they were married. However, they separated just 5 months later when rumors swirled that Chad had cheated on his wife with Paris Hilton, his co-star on the film House of Wax. During the time he and Paris both worked on the horror film together, they reportedly had an affair, according to Backstreet Boy Nick Carter, who was dating Paris at the time. But after separating, Chad and Sophia still had to keep working together for another 3 years on One Tree Hill. If that's not awkward, I don't know what is. It wasn't until 2011 that the actor decided to rethink the way in which he was living his whole life. Quote, "When you're young and you're thrown into something that I was definitely not ready for, I'm human and I screw up." But his ex-wife definitely took the whole affair much harder, and it's clear that his actions really affected her in the long term. In 2017, she wrote in Cosmopolitan that the scandal was a massive event in her life, and the trauma of it was amplified by how public it became. She has also said that she feels the marriage was a joke, and it did nothing but reduce her to a Hollywood statistic. Ouch. Number 7. Abby Cornish and Ryan Philippe. The actor first met Reese Witherspoon while starring alongside her in the 1999 movie Cruel Intentions. They actually fell so in love with each other that they ended up getting married that same year. But all good things must come to an end, especially Hollywood romances, and in 2008, Ryan started to get closer to his new co-star, Australian actress Abby Cornish, while they were filming the movie Stop Loss. The two of them seemed to be so comfortable being seen in public together that they were eventually caught having dinner together in a Texas restaurant, despite the fact that there were some curtains around around the table. They were also caught together again just outside of Ryan's apartment. The affair was so in your face, it really wasn't funny. But it wasn't until Reese discovered intimate messages back and forth that were being exchanged between the two of them on his phone. Then it was clear that after 7 years of marriage and 2 children, Reese was ready to call it quits with Ryan, and later went on to marry talent agent Jim Toth, whilst Ryan and Abby's love affair eventually lost its spark. Number 6. Kerry Russell and Matthew Rhys. The actors played secret KGB agents and love interests on the FX spy drama The Americans. The romance between the two sparked while on set, but there was just one problem. At the time, Kerry was still married to Shane Deary, with whom she had 2 kids. The 2 leads play like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and so naturally, many believe their steamy scenes were indicative of a real-life romance. At the time though, they both heavily denied it. When talking about their sex scenes, Matthew said, quote, "We've all done a million of them in this crazy life we sign up for." He said that eventually the clinical element of it kicks in, which sort of takes away from that embarrassment. But it's obvious that there was really something going on, as the 2 of them were shopping for furniture together at Christmas in 2013. Not long after, Kerry parted ways with her now ex-husband. Unlike most cheating scandals though, this one seemed to turn out quite well, as Kerry, Matthew and Shane reportedly go on vacations together and frequently dine out as friends. Not only that, but in 2016, Kerry and Matthew welcomed their first child together and became a blended family. Number 5. Tori Spelling and Dean McDermott. The Beverly Hills 90210 star and her husband, Dean McDermott, have been making headlines since their scandalous start. The 2 actors met on the set of Lifetime's Mind Over Murder in 2005, only a year after Spelling married her first husband, Charlie Shanahan. Dean was also married at the time for more than a decade to Mary Jo Eustace, with whom he shares a son. Tori and Dean began cheating on their spouses the night they met. In fact, she wrote about the affair in her 2009 memoir, quote, "It was love at first sight. I fell so hard. Then I noticed he had a wedding ring. When someone asked, he pulled out photos of his children, and oh yeah, I had a husband too." Yeah, there's no making that sound better. She went on to say that the couple ended up spending the night together despite the fact that they were both married, and she knew it was meant to be because when she woke up next to Dean the following day, she said she had no regrets. The 2 married and went on to have 4 children together before yet another cheating scandal rocked their relationship in 2013, this time with Dean and the nanny. Number 4. Kate Hudson and Owen Wilson. The Hollywood stars had a massive cheating scandal while filming the 2006 comedy You, Me and Dupree, most likely because Kate was married to rock musician Chris Robinson for 6 years when she met Owen. The actors had a wild affair that lasted only 6 months, but it was definitely long enough to ruin Kate's relationship with her husband forever. Amid the rumors of infidelity, the Black Crowes singer ended up filing for divorce from Hudson in November 2006, citing irreconcilable differences and seeking joint custody of their then 2-year-old son Ryder. A month after the film opened in July, Kate and Owen were confirmed to be officially dating. But the affair didn't seem to stack up to anything, as the couple's relationship was short-lived, and they broke up less than a year later. As the public started to turn against the actress, she countered the speculation by telling Harper's Bazaar that's not what happened. But looking back at the 2006 press tour, it was pretty obvious that something was happening between them, because it got kind of inappropriate. Owen asked her about wearing a bikini in the film and whether she and her husband have ever had a third wheel experience. Number 3. Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall. Many Hollywood romances have started on screen and bled into the real lives of the actors involved. The most iconic has to be that of Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall. The 2 engaged in a scandalous affair after meeting on the set of To Have and Have Not back in 1944. Bacall was only 19 when she first met Bogart, who was already an acclaimed Hollywood star and 25 years older than her. But that wasn't the only issue. At the time, Bogart was married to actress Mayo Methot, but their relationship was reportedly falling apart. Bacall confessed in her 1978 memoir that there was no clap of thunder or lightning bolt moment when she first laid eyes on him in 1943, but the actors became close on the set when she was nervous about the production and turned to her co-star for support. Just 3 weeks into filming, the pair shared their first kiss in her dressing room after a day of filming, and he asked her for her phone number, which she famously scribbled on the back of a matchbook. After that, they began meeting in secret places and using their on-screen names to disguise their identities. Bogart eventually divorced his wife in 1945 and married Bacall just 11 days later. Number 2. Sienna Miller and Daniel Craig. Scandal erupted in 2005 when Sienna Miller's confession of love to Daniel Craig was publicly broadcast to the world while she was still married to Jude Law. The 2 were co-stars in the 2004 for film Layer Cake with Sienna, and at some point the two got a little bit closer than they did on screen. But how did the news of the affair get out? Well, that's the tricky part. A journalist hacked Daniel's voicemail, retrieving a message that came from Sienna's phone number. Both parties tried to discredit the audio tape at first, but when the hearing took place for the hacking trial, it was proven to be authentic. Sienna tried to play it off and told the court that she always ended phone calls saying "I love you," insisting it wasn't some huge declaration of love. She denied that the message meant she was in a relationship with Daniel, but she did admit to the court that they were briefly involved. Jude reportedly learned of his wife's affair from the newspaper story and called Daniel to confront him because the two used to be close friends. Talk about messy. And coming in at number 1, Meg Ryan and Russell Crowe. In the 90s, Meg Ryan had a squeaky clean image thanks to her role as a leading lady in many rom-coms like When Harry Met Sally and Sleepless in Seattle. But her reputation took a huge hit when it emerged that she cheated on her then husband, Dennis Quaid, with her co-star Russell Crowe. Meg and Dennis had been married for 9 years and already shared a son together when she met Russell on the set of the 2000 thriller Proof of Life, and the pair had instant chemistry. But the affair reportedly caused awkwardness amongst the cast and crew, as the actress didn't even appear on the press tour because she was so worried that they would be asking her about it. In fact, the film's director, Taylor Hackford, blamed the cheating scandal for the film being a flop at the box office. Meg was publicly shamed, especially after she and Dennis officially announced their separation, because it allegedly put too much strain on their marriage. When she began dating her co-star, it really changed the public's perception of her as the quirky rom-com lead. In fact, she told The Guardian in 2003, quote, "I was all over the tabloids and I walked through the lobby and the place stopped. People stopped talking and stared at me." Goes to show you how sensational the affair was at the time.
Number 10. Will Smith. In 2015, Will Smith starred in a film called Focus, in which he plays a con man in the midst of his latest scheme when a woman from his past, played by Margot Robbie, arrives and throws his plans for a loop. The timing of this film being made could not have been more perfect, as we know now that Will and his wife Jada were taking a break at that time. For Jada, this meant an entanglement with August Alsina, weird way to phrase that, and for Will, this meant himself and Robbie were free to rehearse their scenes in private. It was confirmed that Margot and Will were seeing each other during production of Focus, and his wife was not happy about that. Despite being legally married in 1997, the institutionalized concept of tying the knot just never really sat with Jada. So apparently she only married Will because she became pregnant with Jaden and felt that it was the right move to make, which is always a great way to start a marriage. While Jada herself is also a cheater and has publicly admitted it, she has held a grudge towards Margot for 8 years with no signs of it stopping. Will and Jada are still together, but we can all agree that their relationship is the Hindenburg and somebody is gonna light a match. If you don't know what the Hindenburg is, just Google it. Number 9. Kristen Stewart. His skin was pale and cold, and that is how Kristen likes them. As many of us know, Kristen Stewart starred as Bella Swan in the film adaptation of the Twilight book series. She co-starred with Hollywood hunk Robert Pattinson as her love interest slash vampire, Edward Cullen. The on-set chemistry spilled into their real lives after it was announced that the two were a couple and the world stood still. These two together, a match made in heaven. How much more perfect could it be? Well, turns out it could only be worse. Photos of Kristen kissing a man named Rupert Sanders were published by Us Weekly. Sanders is a director and had been working with Stewart on his upcoming project Snow White and the Huntsman. Not only did Kristen cheat on Robert, but Sanders was married to a model and actress Liberty Ross at that time, so he cheated too. She rightfully filed for a divorce in 2013 and has since gone on to marry Interscope co-founder Jimmy Levine. While Stewart's love life has been much better, as she's currently engaged to fellow actor and screenwriter Dylan Meyer, who she met on the set of a film in 2013. Oh, that's so cute.
Up next, number 8, we have Kevin Hart. Another cheating scandal that sent people over the edge was in 2017 when video footage leaked online with Kevin and another woman that was not his girlfriend or wife. After the footage went viral, the internet started claiming that he had cheated on his wife, who was 8 months pregnant at the time, with their son. At first, Kevin was denying all of these rumors, but then he landed himself in the middle of an extortion attempt. Someone started alleging that they had a possession of a video of him getting sexual with another woman and threatened to expose the video if he did not pay them. His wife, Aniko, later talked about how she felt about the situation and how she found out about it in the first place. She said it was actually through a DM message on Instagram. Her exact words were, I quote, "I was about 7 or 8 months pregnant and I was having breakfast and I opened my phone and immediately I just lost it." as most people would. Kevin finally admitted to it and released a public apology to his wife and his family, and the two of them worked through it and they are still together. We out here, girls, we out here just freaking throwing forgiveness around, aren't we? Girls cheat too though, so don't think I'm just on the guys or the girls' side.
Number 7. Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell. Glenn and Sydney will be sharing a spot on this list as the situations they put themselves in are very similar. You may know Glenn from his role in the recent Top Gun sequel Maverick, and you will recognize Sydney from the hit HBO series Euphoria. These two began filming a rom-com together in Australia earlier this year, and it turns out they got along really well. After being cast to play romantic interests in the film, the two spent so much time together that it would seem their chemistry had blossomed into a full-fledged romance. For a few months, photos of the pair kissing and cuddling both on and off set have been circulating online, and they're adorable. They seem to have a genuine connection instead of some PR forced relationship. It sucks though because they were both seeing someone when they met. Powell has been in a relationship with a woman named Gigi Paris, who is a model, for 3 years, and Sweeney was engaged to a very famous businessman named Jonathan Davino, who she had been dating for 4 years. When they met on set, it was like they stepped into another dimension and their partners didn't exist anymore, so they were free to be whoever they wanted. Of course, photos and rumors began swirling, and in April of this year, Gigi officially announced the end of her relationship to Powell after she discovered the rumors were true and they were in fact a couple. While they may have destroyed their already existing relationships, a new celebrity rom-com couple is sure to rise from their ashes. Number 6. Lindsay Lohan. This one hits home for me as I grew up with a sister around the time that this happened, and she was not having it. Aaron Carter is a musician who was very popular in the late 90s and early 2000s. In 2001, he started dating fellow pop star Hilary Duff, who had just broken onto the small screen with her much-loved comedy series Lizzie McGuire as the titular Lizzie. The couple were together for 2 years until Aaron suddenly decided that he wanted to date Freaky Friday star Lindsay Lohan at the same time as Hilary. Aaron eventually broke up with both girls by the end of 2003, but he accidentally started a feud that appears to have lasted to this day. While both were obviously mad at Aaron for his part, the young love made them mortal enemies. When Lohan hosted SNL in 2004, she made fun of Hilary on air by getting character actor Rachel Dratch to portray Duff during the cold open of the show. Aaron recently attempted to reach out to both Lindsay and Hilary, but he was denied. Rejected, yeah, you just got rejected. Okay, that's a Zoe 101 reference, but I'm just feeling nostalgic today. It doesn't have to do with Lindsay. Number 5. Kenneth Branagh. You may recognize Kenneth as the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher and the liar from Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, Gilderoy Lockhart. He met Miss Emma Thompson, the lead of Love Actually, in 1987 while filming the BBC series Fortunes of War, and they were married 2 years later. They were once the most A-list celebrity couple in England's history, collaborating several times during their marriage. Kenneth directed Emma in a long list of projects over the years, but by 1994 their romance hit a major pothole. While filming his movie adaptation of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, Branagh began a secret relationship, aka an affair, with Helena Bonham Carter, who had previously worked with Emma Thompson in 1992's Howard's End. At the time of the breakup, Kenneth and Emma expressed to the public that they would be splitting simply due to their busy work schedules, but it later emerged that the split was due to Emma having knowledge of the affair, and in 2016 she revealed exactly how her husband's infidelity affected her. She took this moment and used it to inspire her character's story in Love Actually, which has gone on to be one of her best performances to date. After breaking it off with Thompson, Branagh began dating Bonham Carter until 1999. Kenneth later got married to Lindsay Brunnock. Thompson married actor Greg Weiss in 2003, and Helena Bonham Carter moved on to the king of the macabre, Tim Burton, and had 2 kids with him before calling it quits in 2014, meaning that she is single and ready to mingle. Number 4. Chad Michael Murray. Many will recognize Chad as the co-star of several rom-coms from the early 2000s, most notably starring alongside Hilary Duff in 2004's A Cinderella Story, which is one of the most underrated movies of all time, by the way, just check it out if you haven't. Chad met a woman named Sophia Bush on set of the series One Tree Hill, in which they play a couple with an on-again, off-again relationship. It turns out their real-life relationship would be just as rocky. The couple actually got married in April of 2005, but ultimately split up only 5 months later. The breakup followed a massive slew of rumors that Michael Murray had an affair with his House of Wax co-star Paris Hilton, and those rumors later were proven to be true. Paris had been dating Backstreet Boy Nick Carter for a few months when those rumors began to circulate, and he later revealed that his brother Aaron was actually the one that found out about Hilton cheating and told his brother what happened. Paris and Murray were never actually a couple, just the reason for several breaking up. Unfortunately, Bush and Murray had to continue working together on One Tree Hill following the split. Oh wow, that must have been just so much fun. Number 3. Debbie Reynolds. A bit of an older entry on this list. We need to address it though. Debbie Reynolds is a well-known Hollywood icon who ran the show during her time on the silver screen. Our younger audiences will recognize her as Grandma Aggie from the Halloween Town series. She appeared in various films over the 60s and 70s, including some alongside her then husband, one Eddie Fisher. Eddie and Debbie were Eddie and Debbie, it rhymes, it's cute. Eddie and Debbie were Hollywood royalty during their marriage. Debbie's friend Elizabeth Taylor was also a Hollywood icon at the time, being the lead lady in films like Cleopatra and Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, which is an aggressive title. When Taylor married her third husband, Mike Todd, Debbie was the maid of honor, and Eddie was Todd's best man. Not long after the wedding, Mike passed away in a plane crash, and Debbie and Eddie were there to comfort her. It appeared that Eddie got a little too comfy though, as himself and Debbie split only a few months later due to an alleged affair that Eddie had with Liz. After the split, Eddie and Taylor were married only to get divorced after 1 year. The feud between Taylor and Reynolds was strong until they reconciled in the early 2000s and even made a TV movie together called These Old Broads. Oh, check it out.
Number 2. Morena Baccarin and Ben McKenzie. The Homeland actress furiously denied rumors that she had been cheating on her husband at the time, Austin Chick. But when she got pregnant by her Gotham co-star Ben McKenzie, there was very little she could do to cover it up. And just like that, the cheating rumors were confirmed. Although the actress tried to shut down the allegations, according to a TMZ report, the divorce papers filed in 2015 by Austin show that he claimed that he was still sharing a bed with Morena when she conceived Mackenzie's baby. She did get a happy ending though, and eventually gave birth to Mackenzie's daughter Frances in March of 2016, just 2 weeks before her divorce from Austin was finalized, and went on to marry Mackenzie in June the following year. But did she at least feel a little bad for sleeping with her co-star while she was married? Well, not really. In fact, she told People magazine that working with him on Gotham was wonderful. Quote, "Ben's the sweetest. It's very nice to work with your significant other, especially when you're pregnant, because you know you'll get some extra TLC and get taken care of." I mean, yeah, I guess that sounds nice if you can ignore the question of how they met.
And at number 1, Jack Nicholson. Here's Johnny! Jack Nicholson is surely burned into your memory in some way, shape, or form. His turn as the Joker lives rent-free in my skull 24/7. From 1973 to 1990, Jack had an on-again, off-again relationship with Angelica Houston, who you may know as Morticia Addams in the Addams Family movies, or perhaps her role as the head witch in the movie Witches. The relationship finally ended for good after Angelica discovered that Jack was expecting a child with Rebecca Broussard, whom he would go on to star with in several projects. According to Angelica herself, she confronted Jack on set following the news, essentially cornering him in a bathroom so that he wouldn't be able to get away from her. She wailed on Nicholson left and right, and she's quoted as claiming that there was no kicking, but the rest of the altercation made her feel like she was going up against a prize fighter. Jack was apparently very quick on his feet though, dodging shots left and right, and eventually Angelica stormed off in a huff. Nicholson was only married to Rebecca for 4 years before they officially called it quits in 1994. Well, hopefully it was worth the savage beatdown brought upon by Angelica Houston.
Starting off our list at number 10 is Ashton Kutcher. Don't freak out, the actor didn't cheat on his wife and mother of his children, Mila Kunis. He actually cheated on his wife that came before her, Demi Moore. The actress was 16 years older than Ashton and had 3 teenage girls when they first got together. When they got married, he was only 25 years old. The age difference had rumors flying that there was trouble in paradise when it came to their marriage. The majority of rumors were that Ashton was cheating on Demi with multiple different women. The rumors may not have stuck, but one alleged hookup sure did when there was proof. Paparazzi captured pictures of Ashton leaving his hotel, the Roosevelt, with Sarah Leal in the car with him. After the picture surfaced, Sarah came forward with the truth, saying that they hooked up in a hot tub in September 2011 on his 6-year anniversary with Moore. During an interview with The Sun, she stated, and I quote, "We had sex twice, everything felt natural, we were having a good time, one thing led to another. He was good, it wasn't weird or or perverted or creepy. I was attracted to him and he was attracted to me. She also went on to say that Ashton told her he was separated from Demi at the time when they hooked up. Needless to say, Ashton and Demi officially divorced not long after the truth came out. At number 9 is LEANN Rimes. She's known for a bit of everything, acting, singing, and she's even recognized now as an author. She is a triple threat. However, one thing she isn't very good at is being faithful to her husband. Her cheating scandal caused a lot of controversy when photos of her kissing her co-star Eddie Cibrian at a romantic dinner together. Turns out Eddie was married too. The scandal made headlines back in 2009 when the footage was leaked from a restaurant security camera. The photo snapshots show the two actors holding hands, kissing, and cuddling up next to each other. Rimes was married to Dean Shermitt since 2002, and Eddie was married to Brandi Glanville since 2001 and even had 2 kids with her. Once both of their spouses were made aware of the cheating, they both pulled the plug on their marriage. LEANN and Eddie eventually married each other in 2011. How romantic. Taking over the number 8 spot is BALTHAZAR Getty. Most people remember this scandal because the picture went viral of the famous topless holiday cheating scandal. Back in 2008, the actor's career was in its prime when he starred in Brothers and Sisters. Not only was his career going well, but so was his marriage. He had a long-term marriage with his wife Rosetta Getty, and the two of them even had 4 children together. That was quickly ruined when he was caught having an affair with Sienna Miller. They were caught together in Italy on a vacation when topless photos of Sienna made headlines. Getty and his wife separated for 2 years after the incident but decided to work things out. The actor and his wife opened up during an interview with People magazine and said that it actually made their marriage stronger. As for Sienna, she later dated Jude Law, who ended up cheating on her with their nanny. Karma? At number 7 we have Katharine McPhee. Her career first started in the music industry when she came in 2nd place during her season on American Idol. She later transitioned into the acting world when she landed a starring role on the television series Smash in 2012. During her time on the show, paparazzi managed to get some photos of Katharine and the director of the series, Michael Morris, kissing, which definitely wasn't part of her job description. Both of them were guilty because they were both married at the time. Michael was married to the mother of his 3 children, and Katharine had been married to a man named Nick Kokos for 5 years at that point. Her husband ended up filing for divorce, and the paperwork was finalized in 2014. Swiping the number 6 spot is Ryan Phillippe. For a long time, the actor was married to Reese Witherspoon, and they were one of Hollywood's most admired couples. They got married in 1999 and were together until 2006, where they had 2 kids together, a daughter and a son. The couple always came across as having the perfect relationship, which is why people were stunned when Ryan was photographed kissing another woman while he was still married to Reese. Photos made headlines of Ryan and the Australian beauty Abby Cornish having a public makeout session. In 2007, Ryan and Reese divorced as a result of the cheating scandal, and eventually Ryan spoke openly on his romance with his mistress. The two of them continued to be in a relationship together until 2010. Halfway through the list at number 5 is Elizabeth Taylor. The actress was part of a huge Hollywood scandal all the way back in 1962. It was one of the most scandalous and iconic headlines made during the time. Paparazzi caught Elizabeth spending some romantic time with Richard Burtman on a private yacht. The first photo appeared in June of 1962, and people were shocked seeing as both of them had been married at the time. Elizabeth was married to her 4th husband at the time, Eddie Fisher, and Richard was married to his first wife, Sibel Williams. Once the pictures were out, the two of them left their marriages to be together. They became an iconic couple in Hollywood and got married only 1 year after the scandal on March 15, 1964. Their love story was legendary, but for all the wrong reasons. Here we are at number 4 with Hugh Grant. Even with photographic evidence, some actors are able to weasel their way out of the wrongdoings. But Hugh's photographs are not the typical kissing photo like anyone else on this list. Not only was he publicly outed for cheating on his girlfriend in 1995, he was also arrested because he had solicited an escort. His cheating scandal pictures, his mugshot, and hers. There is no way you're possibly talking yourself out of this one. Back then, Hugh Grant and his girlfriend Elizabeth Hurley were one of Hollywood's power couples, or so everyone thought. During the scandal, fans were shocked that Elizabeth actually stood by her man's side. It didn't last very long though. The damage had already been done and they split not too long after. Taking the number 3 spot is Kristen Stewart. Her scandal broke the hearts of many Twilight fans. She began dating her co-star and moved movie boyfriend Robert Pattinson while filming the Twilight series of movies. Fans were obsessed with their love story since they got to see it in the movies and also in real life. She ruined their love story when she was caught cheating with her Snow White and the Huntsman director Rupert Sanders. The paparazzi leaked the photos in 2012, which showed the two of them making out in a car and snuggling up together on a deserted hike. Not only was Kristen in a relationship, but so was Rupert. He was married to Liberty Ross and also had kids with her. Robert, Liberty, and fans were all heartbroken by the shocking scandal. Kristen issued a statement saying, "I am deeply sorry for the hurt and embarrassment I've caused to those close to me and everyone this has affected. This momentary indiscretion has jeopardized the most important thing in my life, the person I love and respect the most, Rob." The two of them split not long after, and Rupert's wife filed for divorce the following year. Alright guys, at number 2 we have Marlon Wayans, the actor who made big waves in the acting industry when he starred in White Chicks back in 2004, one of my favorite movies to this day. However, I am not too pleased with the actor after learning about his cheating scandal. The scandal happened in 2012 when he had been dating his girlfriend and mother of his 2 children, Angelica Zachary, for 12 years. Pictures made headlines that showed Marlon kissing and caressing a mystery brunette on a private yacht in St. Barth's. Some people were shocked while others stated that he's always had some commitment issues. During an interview with Wendy Williams before the scandal took place, he revealed that he and Angelica don't even live together, even though they have kids together. When asked why, he said, "I like to keep it fresh. When you live together, that's when the sweatpants and the cream on the face comes out and it kind of says you're not going to get some." How did he possibly explain this to his kids? He later admitted that once his kids found out about the cheating, they physically lashed out at him. Angelica decided to stick it out with him, but they ended up getting a divorce in 2013. Taking the number 1 spot is Kevin Hart. This one cut deep for me because he is one of my favorite comedians, so it's hard not losing any respect for him. Not only was Kevin married at the time of his cheating scandal, but his wife was actually pregnant. He was on a trip in Las Vegas when camera footage broke the internet showing the actor getting up close and personal with an exotic dancer. The footage was taken from a Vegas nightclub surveillance video. Once the footage was out there, Kevin came forward in a shocking Instagram video where he confessed his affair to his millions of followers to try and stop the mistress from trying to get money from him in exchange for her silence. At the time all of this was going on, his second wife was in her 3rd trimester of pregnancy. Turns out his wife was actually the mistress that broke up Kevin's first marriage, so their story is kind of a mess altogether. Kevin continued to publicly own up to his actions and apologize for his mistakes, which his wife actually forgave him for. Kicking off our countdown at number 10 is ASHTON Kutcher. Fans will never forget the time in 2011 when he cheated on Demi Moore with a woman who was much younger than her. Photos leaked online showing ASHTON partying with a 22-year-old blonde girl in his bedroom at the Hard Rock Hotel in San Diego. The photos could not have come at a worse time either, as it was his wedding anniversary of 6 years with Demi. The worst part was Demi actually remembers the day that he met his mistress, Sarah Leal, and explained it in her memoir. She said that they were actually at a bowling alley with their daughter, and when ASHTON went to switch out their shoes, Sarah came up, flirted a little bit, and gave her phone number to him on a napkin. Demi wrote, "When we got home that night and he showed it to me, I said, that is just gross, we were there with our kid." She said that he told her there was nothing to worry about, so when he eventually had the affair with her, it was just like a real slap in the face. Not long after that, they announced their split. Disgusting. Coming in hot at number 9, we have Justin Timberlake. I was absolutely devastated when I saw these scandalous pictures on the internet because I love his wife Jessica Biel, and like, how do you do her dirty like that? I thought they were perfect together. But turns out their marriage isn't all glitz and glam, and in 2019 we got to see one of the reasons why. Photos leaked online showing Justin getting a little too cozy with his co-star at the time, Alicia Wainwright. The pictures were taken in New Orleans where they were filming, and one night they decided to take the night off filming and go out to a bar. They went to a local bar, and in the pictures you can see him holding her hand, her putting her hand on his leg, all very super flirty stuff. But what fans also realized was that he was not wearing his wedding ring. For obvious reasons, this sparked huge cheating rumors, but Justin released a public statement saying that nothing happened further than what we see in those photos. Jessica did decide to stay with him, and they have worked through it, and they are together to this day. Would you forgive him? Like, do you think holding hands and flirty touching, like, is that crossing the line of cheating? I'm curious, let me know. Yeah, don't touch anyone.
Helena Bonham Carter and Kenneth Branagh. The two are believed to have begun their secret relationship on the set of the film Frankenstein in 1994, which Kenneth played the lead role and Helena played Frankenstein's adopted sister, Elizabeth. At the time, he had been married to Emma Thompson for 8 years, who was adored by fans. The two were even dubbed the Golden Couple by the British press, and seemingly had the perfect marriage, which is why the affair caused a massive scandal that rocked tabloids across the nation. They split in 1995, and years later, Emma has admitted that her tearful scenes in Love Actually were so persuasive because she had had her heart broken very badly by Kenneth. It was a little awkward because both actresses had to work together in the Harry Potter films, with Helena playing Bellatrix and Emma playing Professor Trelawney. But in 2013, she revealed that the two had made their peace years ago, and that the divorce was all blood under the bridge. But Emma even joked that she and her Harry Potter co-star were both slightly mad and a little bit fashion challenged, and she said, quote, "Perhaps that's why Ken loved us both."
In spot number 7, we have LEANN Rimes. One of the biggest cheating celebrity scandals of all time. She cheated with her co-star at the time, Eddie Cibrian, back in 2009 when they worked together on the movie Northern Lights. Their relationship seemed to move past the co-star stage, and they had a secret relationship going on behind closed doors. At the time of the cheating scandal, LEANN was married to dancer Dean Shermitt for 9 years, and Eddie was married to a model named Brandy Granville. Everyone was shocked to learn about their relationship, and the only reason anyone found out was because it was caught on camera. Surveillance footage from a restaurant was leaked online and showed the two of them having dinner together and then kissing and holding hands. Even though there was very valid proof in this video, the two of them still denied infidelity and continued to say that they did not cheat. And honestly, that just made people more angry. Like, how are you even gonna deny it? Like, just apologize? Hello? It's on video. I hate that. I hate that. Cruising into number 6 is Marlon Wayans. It was in 2013 when the unfortunate scandal forever changed his relationship. The actor was caught red-handed cheating on his wife after pictures leaked online of him hanging out with a mystery woman. In the series of pictures, you could see him having romantic moments with a woman in a yacht in St. Bart's. Apparently, he thought that he could get away with it if he went on vacation and tried to isolate themselves. After the picture surfaced, the two of them eventually split up, and in 2016, the actor finally spoke about it. He said when his wife found out and their children, they all physically attacked him. He said it put a huge wedge between their family. The good news is, after their split, they were able to build a solid relationship to at least co-parent their kids together. In more recent interviews, he has talked about his former wife and said he has the utmost love and respect for her, and said that he thinks of her as family and always will. Halfway through our list at number 5, we have Kristen Stewart. I feel like I talk about this scandal all the time on this channel because it was a big deal at the time when it happened. So I talk about it a lot. It was making the cover of magazines and headlining titles everywhere. No exaggeration. If you don't know the drama or you forgot about it, let me fill you in because I know the story like no tomorrow. Back in 2011, Kristen was dating her Twilight co-star Robert Pattinson, and everyone thought they were gonna get married and have beautiful children like they did in the Twilight series. But then paparazzi photos surfaced and showed Kristen making out with another man. But the man in this story was also a very scandalous thing because it was her director from her movie Snow White and the Huntsman, and he was married. He was 41 years old at the time and she was only 22, and he was married to Liberty Ross, who was also the mother of their 2 children. So obviously it was a huge shock to everyone involved. Kristen and Rob split immediately, and it broke the hearts of millions of fans, including me. Like, I'm still not over it. I'm still not over it. I was so upset. At one point in the photo, she's in the car making out with him, and like she blatantly looks at the camera who's taking the pictures and like smiles and keeps making out with him. Like, I feel like she wanted to get caught. Moving on to spot number 4, we have Tristan Thompson. He got caught cheating on more than one occasion, so really he should be on here twice. The first time was the worst though. Security footage leaked online from a nightclub that he was at and showed him getting handsy and kissing another woman. He decided to cheat at the worst possible timing ever. Not that there is ever a good time for that, but his girlfriend Khloe Kardashian was in the hospital about to give birth to their daughter. The video leaked while she was literally in labor, pretty much, so thanks. If those videos weren't bad enough, other videos also surfaced showing him going into a hotel room later that night with the same woman from the nightclub video. Khloe forgave him and stuck by his side, but then later down the road, it was revealed that he cheated again with Kylie Jenner's best friend, Jordyn Woods, who was basically like a little sister to Khloe. Like, solid man. Great. Have fun explaining that to your daughter one day. In our third spot is Balthazar Getty. His affair took place back in 2008 and caused a lot of drama in Hollywood. He was married to Rosetta Millington when photos surfaced and showed him having an affair with actress Sienna Miller. At the time, he remained silent on the matter, and he and Rosetta separated for 2 years. But they eventually reunited, and he says that Rosetta, who is also the mother of his 4 children, forgave him and gave him another chance. He finally opened up about it and spoke about it during an interview in 2016, where he called the affair ancient history and said it was in another lifetime for him. He explained that he and his wife took the space that they needed and that when they came back together, their marriage was stronger than ever. As for Rosetta, she was open about the subject in 2010 when she took him back, as many people just asked her why she would do that. She talked about it during interviews and said, "It was a very challenging time for everybody involved, but I loved and missed my family too much not to make it work." Yeah, that will get you. Missing your children, missing them. It's a tough one when family is involved, eh? Taking over our number 2 spot is Eddie Fisher. His affair with Elizabeth Taylor was a celebrity scandal of the ages. The 2 stars met through Debbie Reynolds, Eddie's first wife, who was friends with her since high school. Eddie's son Todd Fisher talked about his father's affair while promoting his memoir in 2018 and said that it ruined his father's career. At the time of the affair, Todd says he was too young to understand the love triangle that was going on, but said the effects of it impacted the rest of their lives, as well as his father's bank account. In his book, he said the high-profile affair caused an insane tabloid frenzy and said they were both slammed in tabloids for the relationship that came out after the affair. Elizabeth and Eddie were married from 1959 to 1964, and while he may have been happy with Elizabeth at the time, his career greatly suffered after he left Debbie Reynolds. Todd wrote that his dad had contracts canceled due to morality clauses and that his career was completely wiped out. Earning the number 1 spot is Hugh Grant. Cheating on your spouse is not illegal, but doing it in a public place might be if you are engaging in sexual activity when you shouldn't be. The actor was arrested for his cheating scandal, which took place back in 1995. He was caught having sex in public with a sex worker who paid him $60 to perform intimate things on him. If you know what I mean, we are keeping it PG so that we do not get shut down, okay? You know what I'm trying to say. His arrest and mugshot was a massive scandal in itself. Even if he was single at the time, it would have made headlines. But at the time, he was actually dating Elizabeth Hurley, which made everything way worse. But despite the fact that he cheated, she did stay with him for 5 years. But after that, they eventually broke up down the road. She was able to move forward though and make a joke about it on her show, The Royals. Her character hired a male escort who called himself Huge Grant. That's some funny karma.